Oh, baby, it's time to celebrate. I am the Doc, John Macaroon, here to react live to a 44-22 Detroit Lions victory. Everybody saw it. Everybody knows. Those that wear glasses, supremely bright. This is my daily look. If you know me, the DOC. When I broadcast, I don't wear them because I feel like it looks better, but I may have to just include these glasses as part of the live broadcasting attire. The funny part of that whole game was the media trying to figure out, is he calling plays? Is he not calling plays? What's going on? Oh my goodness. And they just needed the facts. Their brains were fried. Hell yeah, he was calling plays. How did we know right away? The glasses, baby. That was a dead giveaway. They needed more than the glasses, but hell, I ran with it. I knew right away. I'm like, Christian, write that. He's calling plays. This offense looks so much different. Gibbs is running the ball well. Look, a running game. The semblance of a running game was there for the Detroit Lions. Let's go. Let's get right into it. How did you feel when you found out that Dan Campbell was calling plays right away? When they went to that first early look, he was wearing the glasses and talking, and they kept showing John Morton not talking. Amazing. A jolt of energy came through my body. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This offense just kept scoring and scoring and scoring, and people were involved. Absolutely a dominant 44-22 victory. But big news out of that game, the big thing people are going to talk about, and Dan Campbell is going to use the collaborative approach, but everybody knows it. The thing that was crazy was, I'm not certain the media listens to 97.1, but Dan Miller is a guy that's going to find out information pretty fast. He said Dan's calling plays far before anybody did any research. Dan Miller confirmed it early, and I reported it at Detroit Podcast. What's your reaction? I'm thrilled. Everything's back on the table. Dan Campbell knows Dan Campbell's offense better than anybody. Let's just talk logically. Logically, common sense. This is a Super Bowl team, and when Amon-Ra St. Brown said, we have not had flow all season, those are the two words that got the change taking place all season. And then you had the side stuff with John Morton saying one thing and then the offensive lineman contradicting him. That doesn't happen. So listen, John Morton deserves a job, but he does not deserve to call plays. John Morton can scheme. He can give suggestions. He can input. I think he should stand next to Dan Campbell. Just stand there for those of us that say, hey, you know what? It's good. You know, be by the team instead of the comfy box. Everybody's out there. Trust in Dan Campbell. It's his offense. He should call the plays. You can't have an inexperienced play caller as OC. You just can't. Ben Johnson had an extensive history as a coach, tight ends coach. Now, I do think that Ben Johnson is on a genius level to be able to have the success that he had, to craft an offense. Absolutely, Steve. Something big happened. We have to operate under what we know, Steve. Listen to you, Doc, total homer right now. You have to listen. First of all, with John Morton calling plays, there was going to be a concern moving forward. Quite frankly, everybody knew it. Everybody was talking about it. It was like, that offense doesn't look right. It was disjointed. People weren't getting involved. There was no JMO breakout season. Listen, MCDC is an offensive genius. It's pretty straightforward. Nobody's going to hide from it. And he can call plays. Nobody wants... Listen, if Dan wasn't calling plays, once the reaction started to take place, he would just lie. Yeah, I'm calling plays. Take all the credit. Let John Morton operate in peace. Let him do his job, craft, put in the installs, be part of the team. But Dan calls the plays, knows when to put the right pieces in place. And John can have a little input. Dan Campbell, listen, when you get Ben Johnson doing what he's doing, Dan had influence over Ben Johnson. So Dan Campbell's a genius, and he's going to now call plays the rest of the year. There is no way that Dan Campbell is going to succumb to giving back any more play calling responsibilities to John Morton. The fan base would revolt. The excitement level, didn't everybody feel it? Was I the only one that was charged up? I was typing like with better. I felt better. I felt like I puffed my chest out. I said, this offense looks great. Now it's against the Commanders. Now you got to do it against the Eagles. But this is great. Dan Campbell takes over the Lions play calling duties. What's your reaction? Thanks to the 300 people jumped on early across 2 platforms. First and foremost, smash the like button for the doc. Glasses rule the world. And also too, because I just can't put in the context by myself. I'd be poking my eyes out. I'd be sitting there going like this all day and night. I am not wearing contacts. Glasses are so comfortable, in and out, no lotion, no infections, no nothing. Just put on the glasses and go about your business. And I feel like I look smart. And luckily, I am not having no glare with the light. So this looks good. It's a good look on Dan Campbell too. Shout out to the early people in here. I look forward to talking. Xavier, Steve, Shamenti, Kevin Jeffrey, Randall S., Brent DeWitt, Ahmed Hassanin's dad. Love it. Hi, my friend. Doc, Mr. John Macaroon. Great win. Good win. Absolutely. Mr. Poole, I wear glasses. Did I win? Absolutely. You're a winner. The media is still trying to decipher. Is Dan calling plays? Is Dan calling plays? Hell yeah, he was calling plays. You could see it. They're like, his mouth is moving. It was funny, man. They had, the media took a little bit of slow. They were a little bit slow on the trigger there. It's okay. That's why we wrote possibly until it was confirmed. But it sure did look like Dan Campbell was calling plays in that first half. Patty Grimes, I'm feeling good. When someone is not adept at a role that they're in, and Dan Campbell quickly makes a change. It was one bad performance, one bad media session, and Dan's like, "Uh-oh, I'm sure the players had to have gone in and said, "Hey, Dan, you know what to do." Everybody, the whole Metro Detroit community, other than maybe a handful of people that needed to confirm it, were excited. It was amazing. It was simply amazing. So smash the like button for the DOC. Let's have a conversation. Look smart. Call play smart. Play smart. It's a good time for the Detroit Lions. All the things that you would want offensively can potentially happen. Just look at when there's flow, when there's rhythm. J-Mo's involved. Kyle Freeman's involved. The run game, it looked like was called beautifully. Jahmyr Gibbs, couple touchdowns. Explosive run plays. Great blocking along the offensive line. The communication issues disappeared. Coyote Awosika slides right in there. It's a beautiful performance, and you curb stomp a bad team. That's just the way things go. Smash the like button for the doc. I think hopefully Mike Slightman comes through. It's exciting. I think it's an exciting time for the Detroit Lions. It's exciting because there's only one person that's going to know, really, in the end, how to masterfully put these pieces in place. It's going to be Dan Campbell. It's amazing. It's an amazing win, a good win, and it sets the tone. It's a get-right game. Everybody knew it was going to be a win. But most importantly, it was, how was this game going to look? And it looked like the Lions. It looked like the Lions from the Bears game. Everything was smooth. Everything went the way it was supposed to go. Now, look, Dan may poo-poo it, but everybody saw it. The glasses told everybody. The secret code was out. The cheat code was out. What's your guys' reaction? Dan Campbell calling plays. Is it over for John Morton? As you know, most people don't believe in a guy that just sits there, but he will have a lot of influence. They do work. So I think Dan Campbell should be a play calling head coach. As long as you have Morton employed, you call the plays and John Morton inputs his understanding of defenses. Let him do what he loves. I mean, when the man, literally, you can't knock him. He just doesn't have experience in doing it. John Morton said, I love sitting in my office and game planning. He didn't say, I love running my offense. He loves sitting in the lab, watching film, and giving the input. He loves it. I love to stay up at night, looking at film, watching, analyzing. Great. That's what you do. You love it. That's what you do. Do not call plays and do not do anything involving game day activities, but give your input. Give your tendencies. Oh, they've done this, or oh, they've done that. Let Dan talk to Jared. Now, aesthetically, Dan is talking to Jared after the game. In my opinion, I didn't think it's a big deal, but I do think, in my humble opinion, I don't think it's a major impact, but I believe that if I was the head coach, I would tell my offensive coordinator, stay with the boys, stand next to me. I want to talk to you when I'm mad. I don't want to talk in some headset that could go out. Stand next to me. Ben Johnson stood next to Dan Campbell. Stand next to me. I want something said, I say it right to you. It's not a big deal. You can still be successful. But when the whole world saw that Ben Johnson was on the sideline, I think John Morton should have just aesthetically just said, I know I'm comfortable. I know there's a lot of noise. Just stand there and call the plays. We'll talk to John Morton on Thursday this week. Dan Campbell will probably has already, you can check the tweet. You guys will fill me in. Christian's going to write the story exactly what Dan Campbell said about the play calling. I was excited. Once I saw, like, maybe I was overexcited. I didn't even care if it was confirmed or not. I was just going to say, listen, that's what needs to happen. It was amazing. I felt great. Like, I felt a jolt of energy. Look at this. Look at the offense. Then you started. It happened right away. The Lions scored, on every possession nearly. It was amazing. I got some energy out of it. Boom! Mr. Poole, you're a legend. Dan Campbell was indeed calling plays today. Said he made the decision with John Morton the day after the Vikings loss. Boom, baby. Boom. There's no, I talked to John Morton. We sat there and said, Johnny, it ain't working, right? He's like, yeah. Oh, man. Wait a minute. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. Did John Morton take a shot at the players because he got, oh, snap. The decision was made on Monday. John Morton took shots at the players on Thursday. I like it. Morton's a little bit of he ain't happy about it. It's clear. Uh-oh. I mean, that was a vast, stark contrast in how these things go. I want to give a personal shout out to Mr. Poole. You're a good dude. The Mr. Poole, working his way up to VIP status. Monday, Morton was probably not happy by Thursday. Wow. Listen, I don't have to turn on my psychological degree brain to realize John Morton took shots at the players after he got his play calling duty stripped. It's over. Let the Mike McDaniel era come to town. Who do you want next? Keep collaborating. Keep doing what you're doing. Boom, baby. I love the media that were there. They just couldn't put it I don't know why their brain short-circuited. First of all, there is a thing, too, with the local media and the national media. Mike Garafolo is not tweeting that. Is not tweeting that unless he knows something. Right away, the local media is like, but Dan Campbell always has the thing in front of him. But he's not always wearing glasses. The doc's not always wearing glasses, but I feel comfortable. I always feel like, you see the glare. See, that's how I always feel like you see that glare. I never want that to show up on the camera. But I guess this angle doesn't let that happen. Did John Morton take shots after? I mean, he did. Factually, John Morton said it's the players. It's one or two players after he got his play calling duty stripped. Listen, we're going to get into all that. Now I want to get to your reactions. It's a good day when optimal things happen the way they should go. Justin May, the rapper, big win. Trippy Gypsy, maybe we can get Mike McDaniel after he gets fired. He would be a leading candidate. Brent DeWitt, next Johnny Morton interview should be interesting. Will he eat some humble pie? I mean, he's going to use this. I think he should just come out and be a broken record. If I'm advising him, listen, John, they're going to ask you, Mr. McEnroe is going to ask you about the play calling. Just say it's collaborative. It's collaborative here. He's going to be like, it doesn't matter if I call plays. That's what he should say. It doesn't matter. I'm on the staff. I help with the game plan. You think I would take some credit? Hell, everyone knows what happened. Everyone knows the truth. Okay, listen, we speak the truth here. You can tell others are trying to spin narratives, spin things. We know what happened. It's not a good look. This is Anthony Lynn 2.0. His skill is to be in the lab and do film. He's in the wrong role. He should be here. Morton should be here. He has a role. He needs to be a voice. He doesn't need to be the offensive coordinator. He needs to be the special assistant to Dan Campbell. He doesn't need to be the offensive coordinator. It's not a big deal. He doesn't have experience doing it. He doesn't do good in the run game. He doesn't have the elaborate experience to set up plays one into the next. It's predictable. And it was clear. Kelsey said it, and when your flagship is saying it, and I hope you guys followed, we presented the truth. I told you early in training camp, I think the lineage would have been the same if Tanner Engstrand was the coordinator. It would have looked more of the same, but he's inexperienced as compared to John Morton. John Morton is also familiar with Goff. I said, pay attention. There could be some issues here. I wrote a column on it. I said, I don't see the genius stuff here. And then I put myself out there with a crazy question to ask it the way I asked it. But week one, after I saw that offense, I said, can you run the old offense? Is it feasible to run the old offense? No, it's not, with John Morton calling the plays. So if I'm John Morton, I'm like, it's a collaborative effort. We scored 44 points. Take all the credit, but we all know the truth. Steve-O, baby, hope you had a good birthday week. Lions gave you a win. You get some energy listening to your favorite podcast. I'm energized. I think all the things now are in front of the Lions. Now you go do it to the Eagles. Most people don't call me John. I like it. John, do you think it's going to be a permanent thing now that Dan Campbell is calling offensive plays? Oh, hell yeah, it is. Absolutely. Get excited. There's no way you go back to that. First of all, John Morton's behavior changed. He blasted the players. John Morton's never going to say we had 1-2 players cause a problem. He found out the news on Monday, and he took shots on Thursday. He's rugged. I like it. But the players were going to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, pause. Graham Glasgow chirped right back. He said scheme. So remember, you hear the truth at Lions on SI. When there's a diverging opinion of what's going on, when the coach says one thing and the players say another, we write about it. We don't hide it. We don't make excuses. We don't say, well, the Lions offense has all these great numbers. Remember, the phony baloney numbers people will tell you the Lions still had the second scoring offense. Yeah, if you score 50 in one game and then the next game you score 0, you still have an average of 25 and it looks really good, but you just scored 0 points and had a lot of bad things happen. So that's why the NFL, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I always look at it as like you react week to week, you look at the trends, and you see how it is moving forward. Based on what we saw against the Vikings, if John Morton was calling this game, the Lions would have won 24-22. It would have been close. You would not have had the explosion. You would have had David Montgomery start the game and get 2 yards. It's permanent, baby. Celebrate. It's a time to celebrate. Even Bill Ackerman knows what's up. That explains the attitude. Ding, ding, bada, bing. Something was off. I mean, coach, it doesn't work like that. It was noticeable. Man, I'm happy. Thursday's when John Morton will address the media the next time. Patty, see, Campbell's not as dumb as everybody thought. He's not dumb. Nobody ever said that. He needs to be in charge of this. He needs to be in charge. Simple as that. Demetrius, shout out to you, my man, my brother. Revenge is sweet. Hell yeah, I wanted more. I'm excited. Listen, when you see people in the optimal spots, it's much better. Why was there a level of angst last week? Because you didn't feel like the coordinator was doing his job to the best of his ability, and he was out of place, and he's also now having an issue with the player multiple games. And I do believe, and nobody said it other than, Travis Kelce and TJ Lang, the Lions offense got predictable. They were giving away tells. They knew based on the formation, based on what happened. Look what happened today. The Lions executed plays differently from the same formations. It was different. They adapted quickly after a bad performance because the potential's there. So in essence, guys, I did you a favor. I took one for the team. I stood out there and said, if you run Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson's offense from last year, you will be successful. Is it feasible? Not with John Morton calling plays. Is it now feasible for the offense to look like it did under Ben Johnson with Dan Campbell calling plays? Hell yes, it is. You have to believe that. Look at the talent on the team. That's why last week I said the Ferrari was turned into a Pinto. Guys, the Vikings loss was terrible. It's atrocious to play that bad offensively, even after a bye week. Look what the Ravens were able to do. That loss is atrocious. But now you're back on track. Go out there, and most people are going to believe outside of Detroit that the Eagles are going to win. Go out there and compete and get after it. Thank you to the 600 people watching. Please smash the like button for the doc and his glasses. All smart people wear glasses. No blocking issues, says Drago. Yeah, JP, you can use him for his previous role. That's what he's going to do. He's going to sit in the lab, watch film, be part of the install. It's just on Sunday, do not talk to Jared Goff. Don't talk. Talk to Dan. Be part of the collective. You talk, don't call a single play. Don't tell Jared what to do. Don't tell the blocking what to do. Don't say a word. Just tell Dan, hey, I'm seeing that they're this is inside. This is X inside. Oh my God, Dan, I'm seeing they're running quarters. The answer is throw it to J-Mo deep. Or throw it in the flat. Whatever works. Whatever your side of the debate is. You can beat quarters with J-Mo deep. I wanted to see that. If you don't know, go online. You'll figure out the whole joke of that debate. You can beat quarters deep with J-Mo. Every time. That's what I need. I need John Morton to be saying to Dan Campbell. It's quarters. It's quarters. The funny part is, and it's a funny joke, we can laugh after a win. John Morton would say, hey, throw it in the flat to Montgomery for the 3-yard gain. Dan would be like, come on, dog. Don't you want to throw it to J-Mo's deep? But Coach Brown said that all you got to do is the weakness of quarters is in the flat. We got J-Mo. And then Goff will throw an interception, and then the whole debate is ruined. Looking smart is everything, Doc. Xavier. That's right. Look smart, be smart, act smart, handle business. Make sure you smash the like button for me. It's the way we keep growing, and I can support Vito, Christian. Right now, they're in the lab. They're doing their best. Their best work now. In that they're going to publish stories that detail factually. So it's good times, man. See, because I'm in the lab doing what I do best, which is have fun, emote, share my feelings. What's your guys' reaction? Do you see now this is the best plan going forward? What's the benefit of this? No, I don't think so. This was over. Kevin Jeffrey gets in. Did players tank it last week to get Morton removed? No. It's just the nature of a guy that doesn't have the play calling experience. It's just inexperience. That's all it is. He's not known for creating dynamic running plays. That's just the way it is. The running game was alarmingly an issue. That's not his thing. Play calling, setting up play, that's not his thing. It's an overwhelming job. Let's not act like being an OC is easy. It's not easy. and he just doesn't have the proper experience to do the job, to call plays. He can definitely understand film, relay information. He should be here. He should be part of the coaching staff, but not in the current role that he's in. Play calling is elaborate. It's understanding deeply your players, and it's also feel. Dan Campbell knows his players. He knows everything. What'd you guys see? You guys saw a over the middle route. What have I been saying for 3 weeks? Jameson Williams, just 4 yards, running through the middle, nice and easy, get open. They called it. I tweeted that. I'm like, that's a beautiful play. Underneath. You could debate, Kevin, Engstrand would have been more of a continuous, but maybe he wanted to go with Aaron Glenn. But also, too, the experience level, if Dan goes, well, he can learn. We got the talent. But I think, listen, you should go younger. These coaches, the Lions now are 0 for 2 with coaches over 50 years old. It's pretty clear. Energy, smartness, genius level type play calling. That should be the guy. But you can't go with Tanner Engstrand versus John Morton based on experience. So listen, we can rehash all that and you can share your comments on it, but it's a nice win. Nice win, and moving forward, you now know you're getting A+ effort in terms of the offensive play calling on Sundays. Get excited. It's back on the table. Winning games efficiently, unlocking this offense is now on the table moving forward. You unlock that offense, everybody comes back. Man, Awosika looked pretty good. You step up in competition next week. It's a big test. There's 508 people here across a couple platforms. It's awesome. Smash that like button. Any super chats, questions, go right to the front of the line. Join memberships. You get on-demand videos, just my thoughts on things. I put up like 3 or 4 videos today. On demand, you can watch them whenever you feel like for members. Member-only videos. And thank you now. A couple dozen members. It's pretty sweet. Thank you. C gets in. Morton, goodbye. Love it. The fellas are talking. We're coordinating. We are coordinating the content. It's amazing. It's amazing. I feel good. Listen, you play good, you win good, and something. Listen, you need a spark. Listen, Dan Campbell, like I said, you have to praise him. He is so, like, we're not used to it. He is so in tune that he doesn't wait for things to be a disaster. Did the same thing to Anthony Lynn, did the same thing to John Morton. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That was a bad effort. The film was terrible. Drastic measure needed to be taken. Hey, Derek, exactly. John Morton turned Jameson Williams into an afterthought. Like I said, guys, football is not, when you watch it, is not complicated. Put the players in the best position to succeed and get after it. Derek gets in. How refreshing it was to see JMO on short drags in space and comebacks that we've seen all offseason for once. Hell yeah, it was awesome to see. JMO free flowing. But also, too, the Commanders, too. We also have to say the Commanders are ass. It was good to curb stomp them. It was great to curb stomp the Commanders. Do you feel like did you get your level of revenge? It wasn't against Jaden Daniels, but hell, the Detroit fans said, hell, we can't get a ticket to Ford Field because it's so expensive. Let's just go to Washington in all blue and celebrate. No, JC. I think there was an issue, too, with what Dan Campbell said on Friday. Too many cooks in the kitchen is not great. Not calling plays. They should give Dan tendencies, what they're seeing. They should have input, but Dan calls the plays. That's all I want to hear. Dan calls the plays, Super Bowl caliber team. All this other nonsense, not Super Bowl caliber. Straightforward. Black and white, full stop. Dan Campbell is the leader, is the general of that offense. That's what I want to see. And he must wear glasses. You look smart. Wear those glasses. It's distinguished. I think it's time to celebrate. It's a good time. See, it gets a good point. I was too nervous about the state of the team to worry about revenge. Steve, your points make no sense. Of course, I'm a homer. I'm from Detroit. And let me give you the philosophy. It would appear that you would think I'm overly critical. I'm overly critical because there's one mission, win a Super Bowl. And that drives my narrative. If I feel like the Lions are back on Super Bowl track, you're very happy. With Dan Campbell leading the offense, that should make a lot of people happy and hopeful. When you have John Morton calling the plays, you have a bad performance against the Vikings. If he keeps doing it and the scheme didn't put the players in the right position to succeed, I only have one thought: winning. Number one. That's it. Make trades to make the team better. Make trades. Do something. So it's all in the pursuit of the number one thing. And also too, I have that sickness where I've been successful for years, but I want more. Video podcast, going live like you wanted, Steve, doing more things. You have to have that drive. You have to have that burning, I'm not happy. And also too, you just dropped 44 points on the Commanders. Why would I not be happy? Hell yeah, I'm happy. And what makes you happy is the ideas that you have get validated. Like you say, man, this guy's not developing a run game. I've expressed it. It didn't get better through the first half of the year. After a bye week, you don't have a performance like that against a team like the Vikings. You could still lose, but you don't play like that in all three phases. Was terrible. So it's the Lions, the Eagles, the Rams, and the Seahawks. Let's go. I want the line. I think the Lions talent can go. D Dunk is right. D Dunk, shout out to you. Lions are just as talented as anyone. See, good comments today. This is the first game it felt like the 2024 Lions down to the slightly bad defense. 1 minute, you're going to get the Dan Campbell story from my man Christian, who does great work. Also, let me take a minute here. Man, that was a fast 30 minutes. We are Detroit Lions on SI. The hub of the operation, you can see. You visit the website at Detroit Podcast on X. We're also on Facebook. Support Christian, Vito, Emmett. They do great work. They're real writers, real journalists that aren't that they're different journalists. They're down to earth. They're good dudes. Good dudes. Yeah, no, Steve, I respect your question. Did you see the pass today? Yeah, I watched. So I'll say this now after the hype. Do I feel bad still that the Lions didn't make trades? Yes. I feel like they didn't take an opportunity to upgrade the team. So the opportunity that I believe the formula you need is great free agency, great drafting, the signing and developing, the coaching staff, and you have to stamp your team with trades. All those pieces have to be solid, in my opinion. But if you maximize the talent and you maximize what this offense can be, this is good. I'm talking about elite play calling, setting up plays, having everything work and flow. That will get you over the hump. But it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. The Seahawks and Rams and Eagles, next week's going to be a test. But my hope is so much higher the way, dude, listen, I can't be the only one reflecting that much energy. I was almost jumping out of my pants. I was like, yes, yes, yes. I was like literally excited. I think it came through the Twitter page. I was like, hell yeah, I'm excited. Because I was genuinely excited that the Lions corrected a problem. And did it quickly. And it produced fast results. They say winning cures all, but Dan Campbell running the offense cures all to me. That's just how I feel. Boom. He needs to. I think even keep John Morton on staff, and Dan calls the plays. Keep him on staff. He doesn't deserve to be fired. It's a 6-3 team. Excuse me for a moment. I'm now releasing Christian's story. He does great work. What Dan Campbell said after about play calling change. I'm crediting Christian. He's a great writer. The man, and also too, I'm going to just a minute here about Christian and Vito. Just always take time to just share that those dudes work hard. They listened to me. They evolved as writers. They wrote interesting stuff. They took challenging angles. And Vito is one of the best columnists you're going to see around here. The man can write. He makes sense. He's logical. Things flow. And it's one of the most popular stories we have every week is Vito's column. Shocking to me, I know, right? But the dude can write. The dude can write well, eloquently tell his thoughts, convey a message, and is amazing. Christian, Emmett, they work hard. They follow leadership. Now, the fine details, the anal retentiveness that I have, they don't have to the degree, but that's fine. We work on it. There's nobody that's going to be as down to the minute detail as me. So it's awesome, man. I feel good. Hopefully you guys feel the same energy. What's your reaction to Dan Campbell taking over the play calling duty? It's a huge story. It's a big deal. It's a new era for the Detroit Lions offense. It's a fresh era. It's exciting. And Steve, no, Vito don't hate anybody. He's that way. He's a busy dude. He got a job. These guys are also doing other things. These guys are wanted people. Christian's doing work as a teacher and a high school coach. They do great work. Dan Campbell is calling plays. What was your reaction? What was your first thought? Okay, because here to me, I want to share. This is what was crazy to me, how it went down online. First of all, the first thing you noticed was a pattern change. Dan Campbell's wearing glasses, doing a lot of talking with that play sheet. Now, the play sheet in and of itself was not new. But he's wearing glasses. He's talking. They show Morton not talking. Everyone's like, uh-oh. Then Garofalo puts out that tweet. And automatically the local media, I don't understand their thinking. Well, maybe I do. But they're like, the national media seems to not be out of touch and da-da-da. With the air of that judgment that they got that I think you've kind of picked up from what I talk about. Some of your favorite local friends, the paper people, were like, well, Dan always has this. Because they're bound by some different standard. They have to see it. They have to be slapped in the face with the facts. Okay. So I'm listening. I'm getting excited. I'm like, wait a minute. This offense looks different. The play calling's different. The explosiveness is there. Jahmyr Gibbs looks good. This looks good. Then, I listened to the radio. I listened to the local team because Dan Miller would have the information, and Dan Miller released it. Dan Miller released it. Early, he said it with the broadcast team. That's a direct, if you're a journalist, the direct line should be the team. Who's on the team? Dan Miller's on the team. Lomas Brown's on the team. TJ Lang's on the team. You don't know your wherewithal to listen to them? No, they don't, because they listen to themselves. So then I'm like, Christian, Dan Miller talked about it. Start writing right now. Why was I the first to write that? I listened to the radio even in because you think I want to listen to Jonathan Vilma butcher his job? He sucks. Jonathan Vilma sucks. The first time he said Deion Branch, I turned that crap off. You listen to Dan Miller. He's the best of the best. Period. So they were still like, we don't know. We're still like kind of like, what? We already published the story and we're going with it. My God. It was obvious. It was clear. It was clear that Dan Campbell was calling plays, but they needed to be slapped in the face with the facts. Hell, I would have just kept going with it. I don't care. I would have been like, Dan, just please admit that you called the plays, because the fan base doesn't want John Morton calling the plays. And luckily, Dan Miller, he confirmed it early. They just didn't hear it. I don't know. I heard it loud and clear. Now he needs to keep doing it. I don't care about this collaboration. That's all cute and dandy. Sometimes you need leadership. That's all cute. We are a collaborative team effort with me, David Shaw, Mark Brunell, John Morton. Listen, man, the buck stops with you, Dan Campbell. You call the plays, you own the accountability. And then you think the players are gonna chirp back at Dan Campbell? What? No. First of all, you also have to look at the dynamic now. The players don't respect John Morton enough to cover for him. John Morton, after he gets his play calling duties stripped, he blasts the players. The players didn't say, well, we got to do a better job. No. They said it's a scheme problem, which is it's a John Morton problem. Well, the John Morton problem has been fixed. There will be no more scheme problems. It'll now be on the players. You don't buck up to Dan Campbell. It'll be go execute. Dan will put you in the right place. And the one thing you got to worry about is, does Dan be too aggressive on fourth down? Does he make the right things? The right things will be analyzed. Not, hey, get J-Mo the damn ball. Hey, why did the offensive line for the second time not figure out how to talk to each other? Like, what the hell are you inputting? Today on the road, the offensive line, did they look like they were out of sorts? The penalties were eradicated. They were eradicated. Am I wrong? I don't think maybe I was in the euphoria of what they did, but these officials kept their ass quiet, right? I don't know who called this game. This was a whip their ass, clean game, and the officials were not part of the story. Did they even call a penalty on the Lions on offense? I was staring at the screen just in euphoria, happy. So it was clean. Clean football. So you're not going to buck up on Dan Campbell. So Dan Campbell taking over the play calling duties is a huge story, big deal, and the team is on track. And check out the work. Hopefully you guys noticed today, if you checked out the site, I did a batch of fresh videos talking about Terrion, the offense. Oh, did you guys notice one of the videos? Members saw it fast. My video wasn't direct, but I had a video title today, Fixing the Offense. You knew it was coming. Fixing the offense. You have to be excited. Mark Lewis gets in. Mark Lewis, 1776. The Lions run on accountability. Mr. Morton plays the blame game. All he had to say was, I was bad. I will fix it. Well, he was a little bit unhappy that he got his play calling duties stripped. I'm happy. Listen, now we can talk ball. We can talk football, not coaches. That's not what you're supposed to be talking about. Boom. Am I as excited? Am I overexcited? Yeah. Here's some of your reactions to my tweet. There's no chance that the Lions let John Morton call plays. Some of you put in some Mike McDaniel requests. Detroit Brian, you guys are ready. Listen, I guess I got to ask it. But I'm not thinking that way. I'm not vitriolic. But you guys want blood. And listen, I respect you guys. I have to ask. You know, we don't close the door on anything. I don't need facts to talk sports. We debate, we have opinions, and we examine the world of sports through the prism of a fan, which is the best way to do it. Could you imagine? I feel bad. I really actually do feel bad for the journalists. They were denied the rush of excitement that I felt. It was almost amazing. I was like, boom, boom, they did it. You could tell. You could seriously tell they did it. And then Dan Miller, to me, confirmed it. I'm not so certain why I don't listen to Dan Miller. If you know, you know. I'm going to use the nicer term. Because it's happened now. Look, we all know what's going to happen. It's probably going to be it for Mr. John Morton. What do you think? Let me be grammatically correct here for once. With this banner. Boom. Is it just something that he should just be gone? Say, hey, listen, it happens. Listen, he caused a little bit too much of a disruption. It's going to be way too much noise. We will just let David Shaw run the offense for the rest of the year, and it'll be quiet. Do you care if John Morton is the non-play calling offensive coordinator? It has the exact feel of Anthony Lynn. It's literally Anthony Lynn 2.0. Anthony Lynn was great, an offensive mind, just couldn't call plays. And I think Anthony Lynn would not have accepted that role. I think John Morton's completely different. So my answer is no. He's got value in this organization. Again, and when a man is that diligent, that has the offensive mind and wherewithal and tendencies, that input is warranted. But most people would say that you need, could you get better? Possibly. You could get a play calling wizard like a Mike McDaniel. He's going to get fired. So we'll see. So do you think that Morton should be on the staff still? What's your opinion on it? Because it just is. I don't know why he just doesn't come across yet as just engaging and similar to the rest of the staff. When unfortunately, you're on a staff with Kelvin Shepard, big time energy, Dan Campbell, big time energy. You can't be somebody that wants to be in the, when he says publicly, I just don't want to be around all the noise. What are you talking about? Football is noise. Football is noise. I mean, Kelvin Shepard called out the cornerback right out publicly, but because he did it already behind the scenes. Exactly. Lala 5. Dan showed that Jamison Williams is a star that we paid for. Boom. Right away. Yeah. Of course he's going to be around. Remember, Dan kept Anthony Lynn all season, and then they parted ways. What I'm saying is what you guys think. Should John Morton still be part of it beyond this year? I think that it might lend to some upgrades could be needed. You have a Ferrari at offense. Got Jahmyr Gibbs, who's still yet tapping his prime. Amon-Ra, J-Mo, Tesla. Does Dan want to do that? I think there is a reasonable chance to believe that John Morton could stay and be a non-play calling OC. It just seems the way it is. Edith. Yeah. Screen pass Morton should not call plays from Edith. Appreciate you listening in. Really appreciate it. T, wait and see approach. I respect that. Remember, I don't do that because I'm talking live to you people. So my answer is no. I think John Morton should be here in a non-play calling role, giving that input, being around, helping the receivers, helping Tesla, helping JMO, but non-play calling duties. Scheme, Dan Campbell. Buck stops, Dan Campbell. As it should be. He's the offensive wizard. He's the guru. Brad will fix the offensive line, according to Donkey Kong. Yeah, it'll be upgraded. Again, my theory is, and I'll be honest, and you guys let me know. Did Dan say anything about Terrion? I know he was asked about Graham Glasgow. Colton Pouncey gets a good tweet in. Dan Campbell on the offensive line. You could just feel the line of scrimmage move today. Says he felt like he could have called anything today and they were going to make it work. That's the difference. Juice. Oh, funny. A radio host called him. Doesn't even get his name right. Called him Scott Morton. Boom. Boom. Big win. Everybody's excited. It's a good time, man. It's a good time. I feel a sense of excitement. Derek, he never was a good choice or fit from the start. Campbell reached out to a familiar face instead of stick to his guns and go after a former player that's hungry and innovative. Derek, bring it, man. You know what you're talking about. So, just wanted to change it up. Yeah, you wanted to change it up. I love how Dan downplays it. Just wanted to change it up. It's seismic. Boom. Just wanted to change it up a little bit. Change up the flow. I mean, listen, Amon Ra put the nail in the coffin. 2 words all season. No flow all season. 4 words. No flow all season. Boom, change. That was big time leadership, man. Big time leadership. And actually, I'm going to critique myself. I maybe should have. I feel like it would have been too soon. After 6 games, I would have felt the wrath if I would have asked Dan Campbell on Wednesday, do you think that John Morton should lose his play calling duties? I felt like from a media perspective, I felt like that. I felt like that would have been too soon. I felt like Morton maybe should have been given to this week at least. And then if he doesn't, like the test is, okay, in Dan's mind, if John Morton doesn't get this team to score 40, he's out. But, man, there's never too soon. Dan Campbell needed a change. Boom, man. That's awesome. It's exciting to me. Exactly. That's my exact reaction, Keys to Wisdom. Other OCs would go crazy over this. Morton will accept it and he'll be fine. Exactly. I think he deserves the job. Just no play calling. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Exactly, Sailor. That was much needed redemption. And sorry, I was just talking to Vito, just chit chatting a little bit on story ideas. And man, that was a fast hour. My plan was going an hour, but I want to talk about the game a little bit too. Lala 5. Agreed. We needed that bounce back win. All hands on deck for the next week. The trick schemes Dan had on the field were very creative, and Goff looked at ease. Listen, also, too, we do got to also say that playing the Commanders is a cure all. Everybody knew they were going to whoop the Commanders' ass. Everybody knew the Commanders were getting whooped. It was clear. It's so true, Donkey Kong. You're right. Jared just needs a top O line and a play caller. That's it. Mr. Hassani's listening? I think so. I think the answer is going to be yes. 96.5% yes. Jason Bowers, do we sign Hassani this week? I think so. Hassani never left Detroit. He's been training. It's about to go down. Broski Bear, did Dan Campbell really call plays? Visit si.com/NFL/lion/on-SI. You'll get the details to the minute. Yes, he did. He called those plays with those glasses. And the offense flowed. It looked good. Jameer was involved. This was a Jameer Gibbs game, baby. But everybody ate. Everybody ate. Laporta got involved. Kyle Freeman got involved. The only person maybe that didn't eat a lot was David Montgomery. Do you guys care? This is Jameer's team. Everybody knows it. I'm excited. All right. You can always talk about John Morton. We spent an hour on it. We know it. John Morton should be a non-play calling OC. Full stop. I'm thrilled. I'm happy. Dan, and Dan you trust, you go down with Dan Campbell. The players are not going to disrespect Dan Campbell. But John Morton's got a little spunk in him. Had to, he called out the players after getting his play calling duties stripped. Let's talk about this game. The Detroit Lions soundly defeated the Commanders 44-22. What happened in this game? Well, first and foremost, what excited you about the game? What did you like? Look at that. Jomo Lion King gives me the credit. Look at that. Hey, Doc, great job today. You are the reason we won. Based on what? The energy you saw on X? The fact that I rushed to the judgment and been like, yeah, this is amazing. They're going to go. Or that my whole staff picked the Lions to win. Or I ate Jimmy John's on Thursday, and they always win when I eat Jimmy John's on Thursday. All those are great reasons. Listen, man, we're just being honest. We just react and tell it like it is. No restrictions, no need for worrying about what anybody thinks. I just share what I think. It's freeing, it's opportunistic, and I don't need to go on X and be like, I don't talk. I think the one thing you realize others do that it comes across in their tone is when they tweet at you guys, they're not tweeting with you, they're tweeting at you. Dan always has the play sheet. He's always on the play sheet. Yeah, bro, but does he wear glasses? Yeah, bro, did Dan Miller tell you that? Oh, look at that. Are you guys observant? So sometimes, I mean, I'm not perfect. Usually I talk at you when somebody comes at me like, you're an idiot, you suck at your job, and you're a jabroni, and then I just start becoming rude. But I don't talk at you. I always like to feel, and hey, if you ever feel that tone from me, say, hey, Doc, knock it off. Stop talking at us like others. That's not the mission. My God, guys. And then you got people on the comments going, the national media doesn't always get it right, but they're not tweeting stuff to their millions of people. Remember, locally, we got 30, 40,000 followers. Nationally, they got 400,000 followers. They're not going to, some people will tweet about solitaire on their accounts to get advertising and not pay attention. I'm not doing that, but the information has value. I value it a little bit more than some locally do. Just a little bit. Others don't value it. They just go, they just tweet out stuff to tweet it out. Mike Garofalo is a professional. He's not tweeting out nonsense. Steve, that, you asked it. I got to answer it. I don't want to bring the show down with that, but I got to take a minute because, it's the hardest thing because it happened in the media room. They were speculating. They were talking. How could I was just sitting there back listening. How could someone do that? And they were getting the details and they don't know. To me, it hurts. Anytime that kind of thing happens when a player takes their life, it hurts. I'm a psychologist. I've been blessed in 23 years. Nobody has taken their life on my watch, but you see a lot of stressful situations, a lot of calls to the hospital. I never want to see that, but I understand why people do those things. And the media was kind of around this subject talking about it. How could somebody do that kind of thing after a touchdown? And I have to always be quiet because you never want to talk about those kind of things in an open public setting without knowing. I'm not going to go read TMZ to the media room. That's what some people were doing. But I just sit back and be quiet. That's not my thing. I don't know the man. I don't know his personal story. I felt down when it happened. I felt truly down. It hurts me more as a professional that tries to do everything in his human power to prevent that when that happens. It hurts. It just hurt. And you just pray for the family and the standard message. If you need to talk to somebody, there's always someone there. Pick up the phone and call, DM someone, DM a friend. There's never, the message I would always give is there's always hope for tomorrow. Today might be bad, but tomorrow could be better. That's the message. It hurt. It really does. It hurts me personally, maybe deeper than most. But, people ask those questions. They talk. I got to remember I got 25 years psychological experience. So the media is not going to understand the devastating irrationality that can happen to people at a given moment. It hurts. It sucks. It's those stories when that word pops across my screen, it hurts me deeply, deeply because I know that it can be worked on. But even in the toughest light of mental health, people still do that. But always take care of your mental health. That's what I always say. I always tweet out every once in a while, take care of your mental health. Now, what excited me, no real good segue from that. You just hope that, those that are surviving get the help they needed. And sometimes it's not about football. But for the Lions in their victory, what went well that you guys saw? First and foremost, the offensive line. Dan Campbell said he could feel the offensive line moving and winning the battles. When they win, the Lions win. He felt like he could call anything. He could have called any single play it was going to work. It's awesome. First and foremost, you credit the offensive line. They moved the pocket. They kept Jared Goff clean. The ball was coming out quickly. There was no real, you know, reliance upon one single play. They were moving the formations, calling similar plays, different plays from similar formations. It was a great offensive performance, and you started off right from drive one. First and foremost, the defense gave the Lions momentum by getting them the ball on a 3-and-out. Amazing work. Amazing work on the defense. And then the Lions, you just knew, boom. It almost felt like after the 3-and-out, here come the Lions. And it felt like a home game. And there was just a fan just took the words right out of my mouth. They got into rhythm on offense quickly. There was rhythm to the offense. Just a fan gets in. Yes, they were moving the ball. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs got that first drive going. They were moving the ball easily. First downs on third down. Man, Derek, you're on it, baby. You know what's up. Hopefully you check out the streams and comment. You know your stuff. All the routes ran weren't 15 yards downfield, so it helped the offensive line. Like a good coordinator is supposed to do. Help out the spots you notice weaknesses at. Spot on, baby. You know what's up. Boom. Can't disagree with what you say, brother. Playing the Commanders team had to give the Lions so much respect and so much energy to play and whoop their ass because they ended your season and like the shark in a water. They saw Jaden Daniels was out with the dislocated elbow and the non-throwing arm. Boom, they took care of it. Handled business. 360 Smooth has to get in and talk to 720 Smooth. He better get our guys ready for the Eagles and continue to call plays. I feel like most of the time when we play elite teams, we get spanked. And he says, I didn't get our guys ready anyway. Anyway, great win. No, that's not exactly true. 360 Smooth. Woo! Let's rewind that. Let's do a 180 on that comment. The Lions in prime time have played very well. Remember, they played the Buccaneers. Played very well. They were injury battered, but that's their problem. That's actually, in a way, when you say when they play the elite teams, they played the Chiefs season opener. They played very well. Again, opening game, they didn't have Kelsey. Some luck there goes your way. But the Lions compete. Now, they would benefit from a W. This one's going to be tough. They got Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown. You got to make them one-dimensional. You got to stop Saquon. Key to stopping them, if Saquon gets over 100 yards rushing, you're not going to win. But I feel a lot better today, 360 Smooth. I feel like 720 DOC today, baby. I feel good. I feel good. And what I love about this stream is that we always start with a certain amount and it steadily grows over time. I love that about you guys. I love that about you guys. Thank you. And so for all of you here across multiple platforms, X, hit the like and retweet button. And here on YouTube, please just take a minute. Just hit that like button. It's a free way, if you're listening in, to just sit back, enjoy the show, and it's free. No membership, no dollar, no super chats needed. You just hit the like button, and that helps everyone, helps the algorithm, helps the show grow. Demond, the doc blowing up. YouTube has been very nice, very fruitful. It's self-sustaining. I put a lot of money into the advertising, also into the stream and behind the scenes stuff, the producers, all the good stuff. Just a fan cut on. Yeah. Oh, it's pretty clear, right? Factually, John Morton got stripped on Monday, blasting the players on Thursday. Now, that would have been classic. John Morton, he does got to do it. Listen, let's have some fun with it. He knows he's getting ripped apart. He's got to wear the salty shirt on Thursday. Listen, one of you peoples, if you're Photoshop inclined, Photoshop Morton with a salty shirt and tag me at Detroit Podcast. He's got to wear it. He's got to take credit too. He's got to walk up there and be like, I was part of that collaborative effort. Us as a unit. It's all about us. All about us. You should just use us and collaborative. Just do like a little challenge. I'm going to say, Dan, I'm going to say us about 40 times. And I'm going to say, I'm going to use us when John asks a question. It's all about us. And this offense scored a lot of points. I feel good. I don't care if I call plays. Us. It was collaborative. Us. Us did great. Us was amazing. I'm really happy. Us and we did a good job. We did a good job. And those one or two players played a lot better. Us and collaborative. You know, it was, or just to be funny about it, wear the salty shirt and just take credit. You know, I really gave Dan all those great information about how to pick apart the Commanders defense. Do a little self-promotion. Lie a little bit. Who the hell's going to care at this point? We all know the truth. Just go out there and do your thing. Just take credit for it. Just go out there and piss everybody off. Oh, that's funny. We did a great job. You're like, dog, listen, Dan Campbell's getting all the credit. Jorge, love it when you guys catch this live stream and get excited. That means a lot to me. Yes, my man Doc. That means a lot. It means a lot to see you too. Shout out to Jorge. Yes. Good win. Good outcome for the Detroit Lions. Good week. Boom. Dolo Dynamite. Man, you guys all caps. That means a lot to me on a Sunday night. Yo, finally found you on YouTube and subscribe. It wasn't hard to find, baby. Listen, if you guys tell one other person that, hey, there's a fan-friendly dude, been podcasting 15 years. He's all about the Detroit Lions. I was about to say he's all about the D. I was about to say that. That thought was like, you can't say that. See how quickly I pivoted? I'm all about Detroit, baby. Am I all about the D? Detroit. At Detroit Podcast is where you can find everything. At Detroit Podcast. That's where the Twitter page is. That's where the live stuff is. That's where you can always find shows and say, okay, that's the hub, the main call center. That's where you need to go to then to the website. That's the X page is the most newsworthy info goes there. And then if you find the YouTube, that's a blessing too. Subscribe. That's awesome, man. That means a lot. But Detroit Sports Podcast on X is the hub of the operation. That's me. Did anything in this game bother you? Did the defense bother you? A lot of you were like, some of those drives look a little easy. Listen, man, they get paid too. That young running back is sweet. Debo's pretty sweet. They cooked Branch once, you know? Doc, is it me or was Dan more talkative and into the play sheet during the Bears game too? Oh, Dan was into it. Listen, I truly do believe that it was not John Morton calling 100% of the plays each and every game. That it was truly a collaborative, everybody do input, and it just gets when that happens, you get paralysis by analysis. Too much, too many cooks in the kitchen. You need one leader. I'm calling the plays. I'm going to listen to some input and I'm going to get after it. I don't need all that noise. I don't need John on this series, this guy this series. I don't need all that. Dan calls the plays and you get input from your people. And David Shaw talks to John Morton. Everybody can talk to John Morton and John can relay information to Dan. And Dan can get information from whoever he needs it from. I don't need too many cooks in the kitchen. But yeah, the Bears game was awesome. But everybody was motivated. Also, too, I think that's the other component that some other media members don't have is the psychological component. Like the Lions were motivated today. After a bye week, it's the Vikings. Yeah, you say you're up for it, but it's a rookie quarterback. You hear all the noise, the bye week. Listen, Amon-Ra went to Vegas. Amon-Ra went to Vegas before the game. Comes back. It's just a loss. We all predicted a bad loss. I thought it'd be maybe to the Giants or the Steelers or one team. Just one game where you just look awful like ass. But you just need that not to happen against a division rival. So now buck stops with Dan. That's the way it needs to be. Chief IT Hips, shout out to you, brother. Can't wait to see how this team comes out against the Eagles. Lions will be ready. Heavyweight showdown. Mano a mano, 1 versus 2 in the NFC. Let's go. I'm more excited now than I was 4 hours ago. A lot of you guys want to know about the future of John Morton. Doc, do you think anybody on staff gets promoted to OC by next year? Well, let's look at it this way from the perspective of positivity. If Dan has success, this offense drops 40, looks smooth, looks amazing, they win a Super Bowl, they just rolled the same plan. I think they rolled the same plan. John Morton is not ego driven. He's just in the wrong position. He's not ego driven. So I don't think he has the massive ego. But I do think there's upgrades available. I think if there's a great coach that comes available on offense, maybe a day ball, maybe we'll throw one out there. What is your feeling now about the Detroit Lions as is? Do you get more hope? Am I wrong? I know that presser and clearly John Morton getting the news and then taking shots is it might end up being the downfall. I can't wait to see how the season shakes out. What value do you give beating the Commanders? Is there anybody on staff? It might be David Shaw, but it's been a minute. He's not NFL guy. I think he's in the right role he's in. I think you go experience. You go Dayball, you go McDaniel. I think McDaniel kind of has that Ben Johnson quirkiness that he can just be, doesn't need to be. But I don't know, does he relate to players? I mean, you beat the Bills. That's pretty good. You put a game plan together to beat the Bills. It has a feel of a McDaniels taking a rebound and coming here to Detroit. Mike McDaniels. Yeah, a lot of people are saying wait and see about the Eagles game. I like that. That's fair. We'll see. How do you feel about the Detroit Lions now? I love the debate. There's this dude, Lions royalty. I like him. He caught on to what I was doing. I threw out that yeah, the Colts were aggressive. They won today. He's like, they didn't that Sauce Gardner didn't do nothing in that game. Well, it's just a fact. They were aggressive, the Lions weren't. The answer is not now, guys. These people, these fans are hilarious. These ass kissing fans. I love them. I love them, but they don't get it. They don't get it because they're looking at it from we support the Lions, don't critique the Lions. If you ask me today, are the Lions still Super Bowl caliber? I think the motivation that Dan Campbell gives them a boost. But guys, you got to be serious. The Rams, Eagles, and Seahawks have some talent. So this dude, Lions royalty, is hilarious. Stat based guy, good dude, but he's like, that doesn't mean anything. It does mean something. That anytime you miss an opportunity to improve your team, you missed. This team is still a very good team, but I'm going to need to see. Maybe it was Christian Mahogany that might have been the problem. You never know, But as it was, Christian Mahogany was a young player they counted on. Maybe Awosika is the guy that needed to be there all along, a little bit better. But again, you also got to remember, we got to put in context. This is the Commanders. Their defense was porous, and the only redeeming quality they had was their run game. They didn't have a quarterback. They had their best players out. So we got to put it in context. Now, the game that's going to fully get us the evaluation is the Eagles game. And we'll talk about that. Probably be here another 15, 20 minutes or so. A good 90 minutes, I think, is what you guys want from me. Oh, is that what he said? See? Goff quotes that Dan did a great job. The players are out on Morton and making a point of it their own way. Morton played himself with the comments. Yeah, it might end up being that Morton realizes this might not be it for him. Yeah, I'm sure, Derek, that we'll find out from the locker room what happened. I'm thankful. I had planned to go to Philly and to Detroit, but I said, you know what? I'm enjoying my kids. They're playing soccer. They're playing volleyball. I really like doing these live after games. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to do Washington. I waffled a little bit on the Eagles. I'm not going to go to the Eagles. It's just because it's a night game. Those are very taxing. And I did my one flight for the year. I'm pretty happy and I'm thankful. I like this. This is actually, this is my John Morton in the press box. This is where I'm the most comfortable right here. Traveling, doing all that. I can do it once a year, twice a year, playoffs, and when I have to. But by choice, talking in the locker room after the game is always fun, but not as fruitful as this. I'd rather do this and talk to you guys, to be truly honest. They're always the players on the road are always rushing. They're trying to get out of there to catch a flight. I sense the vibe. I don't, it's fun, but once or twice a year, it's I choose family over the Lions Road locker room. Yeah, no, bad stuff would happen. Bad stuff would happen. Bad stuff would. I wouldn't just be inviting myself. uh, Listen, no, they're not listening to the doc. They're listening to the factual nature of, hey, your coordinator had a bad performance. Guys, it was all three phases last week, but it was bad. You can't have miscommunication at home. It is designed to be silent. That's coaching. And the play that did it, I mean, I screamed it into the microphone. When you got two players shifting in motion at the same time and another guy gets a holding call, that's coaching. That's also partly the scheme. But yeah, I think Derek, the locker room will find out about what happened. I think that maybe the way in which Amon-Ra blocked probably caught the attention of the Lions because he's a ferocious blocker. And on that play, they pushed Laporta, and I don't know on that play was Payne in the mix there, but I'm certain that Payne got tired of getting pushed around. And sometimes emotions will get to you, and I'm certain that maybe some trash talking also happened. It was always going to be a long shot for the Lions to win a Super Bowl with two new coordinators, but I believe Dan calling the shots changes that narrative. Yeah, very true. I just put everyone's like, oh, the Colts win doesn't mean anything against the Falcons. I just put they're poorly coached. Man, what a difference. What a difference. I love it though. I love the ass kissing fans though. You guys are cool. It's good debate, good banter. Oh my goodness. But what do you guys think about what Derek said? Does this put the Lions back on the Super Bowl train? You know me, I'm always going to be skeptical a little bit until I see it, but I think it's definitely much. Let's say if I gave it percentages prior to this, I gave it a 40% chance to get there and lose. With Dan Campbell being the leader, I give it a 70% chance of getting there and losing, and maybe a 5% chance of getting there and winning, which is way more than before, if that math makes any sense. Like I said, I would be shocked if and when the Lions win the Super Bowl. Yeah, so John Morton's not going to call plays anymore. It's a good time in Detroit. So the game was good because everybody got involved. Everybody ate, but maybe David Montgomery. But that's fine. Jameer eats, baby. This is Jameer's team. You guys don't like John Morton. I do think he's got more value than you guys think, but I think the player relations is just not his thing. Not his thing, baby. And what do you guys say listening to me? Did I say remove Morton? I don't remember. I was screaming so much last week. I just remember I was mad. And I was mad about the trade deadline. The Lions were able, Goff looked good. You protected Jared Goff, explosive plays. It just really was an offensive performance people wanted to see. It was the aesthetics. It was what you say people want to see in an ass kicking. Everybody got involved. It was pretty clean, and it was a nice performance. And if the offensive line steps up and plays, woof, you're now in the mix. It's the Eagles. I got to put the Packers in the mix. Eagles, Rams, Seahawks, Lions. Let's go. Let's see where we stand. Rams are looking good. I'm telling these guys, I'm enjoying the nonsense talk, but actually am broadcasting right now. Oh, but give credit to Lions Royalty. The guy partnered with a lot of people. His claim to fame is he puts together the Lions schedule. He knows he breaks the schedule. He breaks the schedule down analytically. Boy, he ass kisses galore. Whew. But credit to him. Lions Royalty is a good account. We just see things a little differently. Growing and growing. All right. Sorry, like I said, texts come flying in from all different places, family members of the players, and all this kind of fun stuff. Thank you for this and thank you for that. And then Vito is asking about his story because we're going to fine tune it a little bit to be perfect. Skipper was utilized. What did you guys like best about this game outside of Dan's amazing play calling? What did you guys like best? Now, the other thing is, if it is somebody else, I think you're going to have an option between two. And I think the option is going to be, in my mind, you got to go with Mike McDaniels. If it's Brian Daboll and Mike McDaniels available, would you go with them? Brian Daboll's getting fired. He's known for quarterback being a guru, working with Josh Allen, but he's not head coach material. Good dude too, because I for the first time, I've not had a off-record conversation with Dan Campbell. I've had one with Brian Daboll. It was crazy. When I went out to New York last year, I went out to the joint press conference and he's straight laced Nick Saban. Like, yeah, we're going to go out there and we're going to try our best. Yeah. Very, very much stiff with the media. So he walks off. Now we're in the indoor practice field. He's got a long walk to go outside. So he's walking, and luckily there was nobody really talking to him. So I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, Coach Dayball, I know you were a grad assistant at Michigan State. I graduated there." And he lit up. He's like, "Oh," and I was like, "I remember this play and that play, and I remember because I knew the time he was there." So I started going over some of the games, and he lit up, and he started talking, and we were just like, he literally let his guard down and was definitely a different person than the guy in front of the camera. And I said, "Hey, go green." And he said, "You go white." And he walked off. And I think he remembered me from when the Giants came to joint practice here in Detroit. So it was a different experience. He was more human, but you don't get that when he's in front of the media. He's more stiff and and he's taking a lot of losses. But, we got that Spartan dog. He's got that Spartan dog in him. So, and I do know he's a good coach. But guys, being a head coach is really tough. You got to be the CEO of everything. And you finally got your quarterback, but the losing, you're still responsible. You're accountable. Same with McDaniels. God, Jesus, his reputation was the fact that he couldn't get his team to be tough, and he couldn't get them motivated and focused and energized and going in the right direction. It was crazy to see that, he doesn't have hard practices, and the toughness got talked about with the Dolphins. I think Mike McDaniels in this system with Dan Campbell would be like some kind of genius cosmic force that could take off and maybe even make the Lions better than they are right now. But I don't know. Is there an offensive coordinator that if you replace John Morton, you can go and get? What did you like? What's the future now? Do you think the Lions are in the Eagles class? I'm very curious to see, because I do think the Lions are in their class if they play their game. I think the Eagles have a little bit more room for error. And what do you guys think? I answered somebody. I think the Falcons are a good team, but with the wrong coach. Drake London, Penix is going to grow. I think that they have a decent run game. Pitts, they just don't have the right coach. Michael, shout out to you. You had a good. I don't know if that was you that said Dan should call the defense. I think it was a Michael L as well. We could replace Moore with a tree stump at this point. Listen, he's not John Morton. Listen, I feel bad because someone did a whole feature on him, but he's not likable. It's just the way it is. But I think he has a role here. I would keep him. I think that he's probably, if you're going to stay the course and you like his input, I think there's an opportunity. I just think that there is an opportunity to get better. I would not be on the train to fire him because he is a grinder. The guy doesn't leave the facility. There's value in that. He studies tape. He knows the tape. He knows the history. He needs to be a voice, just not the offensive coordinator. I think he should be a special assistant. That's all. Special assistant to David Shaw. Special assistant to Scotty Montgomery. Oh, yeah. There's always something to say about a guy that doesn't last multiple years with a lot of teams. We should have known about Morton with the issues he had in Denver. That's what I don't get. We signed players and coaches to fit the mold, but Morton wasn't. I think Dan values the experience. He valued Jared's input in the fact that John Morton knows the offense. Someone else coming from the outside might not know the offense. John Morton knows the words. John Morton knows the ingredients. He knows the kitchen. Problem is, doesn't know when to grab the salt and when to use it. He doesn't know if the Lions are in the souffle mood or if they're in the steak and potatoes mood that day. He's like, we got all these ingredients. I'm just going to make some soup. Dan Campbell's like, bro, I just worked out. I want some steak. You're like, oh, My bad. It's your fault for not telling me. When you got all the tools, the beautiful kitchen, you still got to know what to make, and you got to know the right, John's probably right to the exact pinch of salt. I know it needs this much milligrams of salt. Dan's like, I don't like it salt, but it said it needs this much salt. Yeah. Shout out Steve knows what's up. Steve Lehman, this was absolutely Dan's way of saying he has his players' backs. Nobody's going to come from the outside and dismantle everything Dan's built. Man, Detroit Lions media, that's a tough call. Do you think they should have kept Tanner and made him the OC? Do you think Tanner wanted to leave for New York and AG? I want Tanner Engstrand circa 2029. The guy's going to be a good coordinator, but he's inexperienced play calling. You got a Ferrari. He probably would not have had all the struggles that Morton had, but there's still a lot of intricacies that you need. He's got the genius mentality. He's got the flow. He's got the Ben Johnson situation. I feel like there is somebody that they need to groom. They got to find somebody young and a former player that could understand what Ben Johnson was about. Frick, you got to go steal someone from Ben Johnson. Go find someone from the Bears that understands what Ben Johnson's doing and bring him back here. Call the plays. Or you just keep it the same. John Morton does not call plays. He just gives input, and Dan runs the offense. I think he did want to leave and have an opportunity. I feel like Dan Campbell wanted the experience. But Dan Campbell's now 0 for 2 with older offensive coordinators. It just seems like the Lions would prefer a young, innovative. It feels like it was a mismatch. This is a young, hungry. It'd be like putting me at offensive coordinator. Like they need someone hip to the game. 35, former player, genius level thinking. I think Tanner's going to be a good coordinator one day. Right now, he's getting his opportunity to learn. They won today, beat the lowly Browns. So we'll see. Okay, if there's an offensive coordinator outside of those two, who would it be? Who's next? Who's next for the Detroit Lions? What's your reaction to the Detroit Lions 44-22 win? They soundly get the W. They soundly get the W and have a good time with it. It was a fun game, man. It was really fun. Good opportunity. Look at that. Also, too, I'm really appreciative too. We catch the news at the right time, at the right pace. Man, it's a good feeling. Jared Goff in control. This is what Dan Campbell wants. A guy that's in control, understands everything. Oh yeah, absolutely. MC3. They interviewed each other. Dayball interviewed Dan Campbell. There's a famous story. But also, too, it might be that kind of connectivity. Dayball's a hard ass. Same as Morton. I think they need that. They need that, but they need that relatability of a former player, high-level player. That's the difference. Calvin Shepard gets all the respect. You're going to front on a former NFL linebacker who played at LSU and won a national title. He's got bling, baby. Calvin's got bling. He can stand up there and be like, Terrion, step it up, because he's already told him that. And Terrion has accepted that. With John Morton, I just think that they got to get a former player. They got to get a former guru. Like, here's the problem. We need Drew Brees' brain, John Morton's bank of knowledge, Engstrand's innovation, and Dan Campbell's wizardry all in one. We just got to, let's call up Tom Brady and see if we can clone all that. Just figure it all out. We need that. And we got the super OC. Is that man this guy? It kind of sounds like it, right? But John Gruden has a weird history. I just think with Dayball and the connection with Dayball from Miami. Exactly, Neil B. Shout out to you. Wow, we're almost nearing 1,000. What I love, which I still can't figure out, is I would always think humbly that as a stream goes on, less people would listen. But the more I do it and the longer I'm on the air, I don't know if other people stop and then you guys hop on. The more people hop on. I love it. That's really nice. That's really humbling. 1,000 people in the chat, 2 platforms. Smash the like button for the DOC. We celebrated the new era. The second half Lions are about to take charge, baby. Led by Dan Campbell. I never thought, like, you guys all called it. And the one thing you guys will realize too is I talk sports. I'm in the sports business. These other people love to talk about stuff that's non-sports related. Man, I don't get why you do that. It's just a non-winning strategy. Stick to sports, baby. It's the best for business. I never understood it. At all. And then when they do, they're just wrong. Austin loves the doc. Is John Gruden take the Michigan State job? No, Saleh is, baby. I'm biased. I need Saleh to take the job. We can have hummus together. Robert Saleh. That would be some ego. Robert Saleh and John McEnroe in the same room. We'd be having a good time. Good old time. Be like, yalla, Habibi, beat Michigan. Habibi. Detroit Lions Media, you got a lot of great profile and great questions. Hope to see you around more. Do you think the type of performance we've seen from J-Mo today was because of Dan's play calling instead of Johnny Most? Absolutely. And the Commanders' defense's ass. Lattimore being out, then the dumbass Daron Payne gets himself ejected like a dumbass. He was open more free space. They weren't as physical. And Dan Campbell had different play calls from the same offensive set. So they were all confused. Daron Payne's a dumbass. How are you going to punch the Lions' best player? Everyone's going to see it. I mean, whack. You're just going to sucker punch Amon-Ra St. Brown? Are you crazy? I mean, are you literally stupid? You're the best player on the team. You're the run stuffer. He's like, I'm going to get myself out of this game. Bam! He's out. Dan wanted J-Mo involved. J-Mo's involved. Look at the difference. Of course, the Vikings defense with Flores is a little different than Quinn with the battered defense. But Dan says, we want J-Mo involved, and boom, he's involved. John Morton says we want J-Mo involved. Looked like more of the same. Garbage time stuff for J-Mo last week. Steve knows. Everything we've seen was due to Dan. Finally, Gibbs and Monty being used correctly. All the receivers getting involved, and you all didn't see no screen passes. So it was great, man. It was a great opportunity, great game. Oh, breaking news. The Spartans signed Johnny Morton as head coach, and his defensive coordinator is Matt Patricia. Oh, now that would be funny. His offensive coordinator is Anthony Lynn. Vito got his next article out about how great the offensive line was. Oh, Vito picked a great photo. Look at Vito. Vito adapted on the fly, got a great story in there. And that's what happens. When the offensive line rebounds, Dan Campbell could call any play. By Vito Jerome. Give him a follow on X. Vito Jerome. Lions offensive line rebounds. I could have called any play. Beautiful. Yeah, I was right. I just seen the stat come across my timeline. We're called for 3 accepted penalties for 1 yard. That's craziness. That's craziness. 3 penalties on the Lions. So, good day. Just give me 1 second here. I just then distribute it to all the platforms. Man, it's a fun time. It's just winning is fun. And then when the Lions make a change to the things that they did, makes everything so much better. What's going on in the Sunday night game? What's the score? There's also a Pistons game on. I think it was Wings, Lions, Pistons. So keep me updated here while I'm on the air. I'm gonna be on the air maybe another 10 minutes. 3-2. Did the Wings win? I don't know. I didn't even pay attention. Did the Wings win today? 1:00 game. I watched in the morning. I watched Liverpool get dismantled by Man City. The game. I thought you guys were dropping hockey scores. The game is 3-2. God, these games are ass. I might just rewatch the more intently the film of the Bills game against the Chiefs. Are the Detroit Lions back? We're going to finish with that. Are they back? Funny jokes about Michigan State and John Morton. Oh, my God. You got to be relatable. You got to be relatable in the stuff that you do. Are the Detroit Lions back? Are they back, baby? Are they where you believe they're going to win against the Eagles? What are your thoughts? Early thoughts on the Eagles. Can the Eagles stop Saquon Barkley? I feel like he's got a big one in him. But the Lions overall might weather the early storm, might get down 14-3, and then they make a game of it in the second half when they get into it. When they get the offensive line battling into the trenches. The answer is yes. He's not good. Good player for now, but not good enough. I would have played Cologne over him. Part of the problem was scheme and Graham Glasgow was getting beat. Anakin's fair. Are the Lions back? Won't know until after next Sunday. I think next year you go with Tate Ratledge at center, Miles Frazier at right guard. Revamp the line. Hopefully you get Frazier some experience this year. Dan is doing the play calling. Let's assume it's Dan, baby. Austin LeBeau. Depends on who's doing the play calling. Are the Lions back? Dan is doing the play calling. I mean, you would have an uproar. You would have a revolt. And I'll just read you what is from Vito's story regarding Dan Campbell and John Morton. It was last week, really, whatever, after the game, day after the game. It was honest, he and I, and we're good. And it's like I told him, I need you, but I feel like this is something that I'm going to do. And listen, John Morton's all team, man. That's all he cares about. He just wants to win. He wants to be a part of it. He wants to help where he can, and he wants outstanding play. And he was outstanding today. He's a grinder. He's a worker, and he just tries to help and give me anything that you possibly need for the game. Look, if you're him, of course it doesn't feel too good. But he's also, man, he's a pro, and he understands everything. And so we move on. That's why you just love Dan Campbell. You just love the man. I see a problem, I identify it, and I think we have to keep reminding ourselves that this is not the same old Lions. They identify a problem, it reveals itself, problem solved. The only thing we got to resolve is this lack of aggression in free agency and the deadline. We're getting close. Like, they know it's coming. They know they got to spend. They know they got to get guys. They know they got to make trades. I think they know also, too, with an inexperienced OC, a young offensive line, this was not the year to invest. It's next year. They're never going to tell you that, but that's the truth. And, of course, Dan would copy me. Who wouldn't copy this? Who wouldn't copy this look? You look smart. You are smart. And plus, you can't say I just put them on. I've done streams with glasses on. I shot crunch time when I did a stream with the glasses on. I wear glasses every single day in the media room. Dan was like, I need that juice, baby. Need that DOC juice. Beautiful. Dan looked great in the glasses. I'm not gonna lie. He looked distinguished. Pardon me, Dan. Would you like some Grey Poupon with me in my sandwich? He looks great. See, the man. The players were responsive to the play calling. You can tell in the post-game interviews. Juice, yes, good. I can't wait to check him out. I was on the air. I love it. Thank you for that. See the man. Yeah, it's tough to navigate all this. I love the fact that Dan Campbell called plays, acknowledged it, and it was true. And the media was super slow to get excited about it. Like, don't you want to see good football? Like, they just wanted to stay level-headed and confirm the facts. Dude, I was nearly jumping for joy. Like, hell yeah. We call it AR. I'm gonna put in the chat. ARAK. You can Google it. It's like Sambuca. Has that the Sambuca has that taste of like licorice. Put a little bit of water. It's all white. It's beautiful. Very delicious, but strong. You can get it like 100 proof. Some people do shots of it. It's strong, but you got to have it with water. I'll put it in the chat. You can look it up. This is the drink. ARAK. One day, you know what I'll do? Who asked that? Phil. One day, like I said, I don't know the rules because I do this live. I think there's some like you're not really supposed to drink on the air, but I'll tell the boys I'm drinking Ada, and I'll put a little glass and I'll drink. Within 3 minutes, I'll be singing on their show. I'll be like, Doc on Ada, turn on the tape, turn on the recorder. We'll have a good time. I'll be saying things I'm not supposed to say. That stuff will get me wrecked pretty quick. It's strong. I thought Terrion was on it today. Man, he just can't stay healthy. What's the deal, man? The physical style concussion today. It's unfortunate, man. You want to see him be on the field, play as much as you can. Yeah, no, when I saw the schedule, Steelers, Chargers, I'm like, that's ass. Like, oh, I mean, literally, the producer should be like, why are we getting this? Why are we getting this? Could have got Patriots and Tampa. Like, we need flex. My God. My God. My God. This is the year where Terrion gets dinged up. It stinks. What are your thoughts, guys? What are your early thoughts on the Eagles? See, I'm more skeptical. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think the Sunday Night Football Lions do play well in primetime. I do think it's going to be up to stopping two guys. AJ Brown is going to be somebody hopefully that you take out of the game mentally with some physical play. But Devonta Smith is a game changer, and so is Saquon Barkley. You got to be careful of that dirty player that took out. He's not dirty, but he did the hip drop tackle that took out Cam Scatterbo. Watch out for that fool, the linebacker. Don't be trying that shit with Jahmyr Gibbs. Bond. Don't be trying that nonsense. We all saw you. Your illegal play. And I just don't want to see, because I'll go off. You know me, not tame. I don't want to see Jalen Carter introduce Jalen Phillips introduce himself to Jared Goff. If he gets a sack, I'm going to be mad. I need him to not have a good game. Dan Campbell, OC1, baby. I'm happy, man. I'm happy that the Lions have a good offensive line. Jared Goff says Dan Campbell did a great job getting plays in, switching up the tempo, keeping up with personnel. It's funny, man. It's funny when the media was like, I never knew the media in Detroit got something so obvious slow, but they're in the press box. Maybe there's a lot going on, but like the whole world was talking about on X. Mike Garafolo set it off, baby. I'm excited. Listen, thank you guys for the 2 hours. I think the Lions are back. This is a time to rejoice. This is a time to rejoice. There's still things to clean up. The special teams, the defense had some lapses, but when you drop 44 points, you just drag your defense along. That's the team I think the Lions want. That's the team they envision. That's why they didn't make any moves. But I'm always of the opinion you make moves to shore up needs. I feel like the offensive line against better teams has a chance to battle, not as dominant. Thank you guys for the beautiful 2 hours. It was fun, energetic. You guys brought all the great questions. Hit that subscribe button. Trying to do as many videos, 2-3 lives a week. A lot of content. Hub of the Operation at Detroit Podcast. That's where you find when these are going to happen. Hit that notification bell so that you know when it is. I think you guys really make it fun to come on after a game and talk for 2 hours. And it's really cool when the Lions take a step forward. And this week, it wasn't about improving the roster at the trade deadline. It was about making an organizational coaching shift that's going to significantly help this team. And that's a plus. That's a big plus. The players get energized. Now they can focus on a big matchup. I think that we're going to talk about it throughout the week. 2 heavyweights are going to go at it. And the Lions, I think, are going to bring their full resources. You also get Malcolm Rodriguez back for this game. So you'll introduce him into it, probably more on special teams, maybe a couple certain packages that he'll get involved in. But it's a good time, man. This will be a good contest. It'll give us more of a real litmus test regarding the true nature of where this team is at regarding their ability to win a Super Bowl. Today was about their ability to clean up their own house. Today, they cleaned up their own house. They cleaned up the mess. There was a mess. They identified it. They cleaned it. They scrubbed it, baby. They scrubbed the mess. And hopefully you're as excited as I was. Hopefully, you guys realize that the information that the Lions give you is if there's an issue, they will find any avenue to improve problems. They're not going to wait. John Morton wasn't cutting it as a play caller, wasn't calling it as a schemer. So Dan Campbell took over the reins to call the plays, and it's business time. DJ DEVO, man, that means a lot, man. I can only end on that. I felt like it was a good show. If there's ever any critiques, let me know. Why was it a great show, DJ? Let me know. Then I'll get out of here. Why did you like this show? What's the staple I need to keep doing when I come on here? I know it's just real talk, emoting, sharing what I think when I think it, and presenting as fair a side as all possible. Fair, balanced, emotional reactions to the Detroit Lions. And like I said, I watched that game in a state of happiness, just knowing that I wish he would have announced it. I just wish he would have said on Friday, I'm going to call the plays. But I know it's schematical talk. But I was excited. Once he wore the glasses and people started talking about it, and the Garafolo tweet in 97.1, yes. I also like the media going, whoa, Dan always has the Dan always has the pad. Yeah, but he doesn't always wear glasses. Doesn't wear the glasses. They don't know this guy. They don't know how to use this guy's to their repertoire. They don't know how to use the psychology. DJ, it was informative and gave opinions to bounce my own perspective off of. That's what it is. Good, bad, or indifferent. If I'm wrong, tell me why I should think a different way. Tell me why I should view it from your perspective. Just don't insult me. I'm not a fan of being insulted. I'm not a fan of not having the respect of being a professional that gets paid to do this. If you don't like what I say, the best way to intro it is, hey, Doc, I know you think this, but here's about thinking why. That always makes me laugh. That's what Ahmed's dad. That's the story I'm always going to tell is Ahmed Hassanin's dad told me to pull up my bootstraps and get on the plane and fix myself. I can't. It's physiological. I get on the plane. It's just a whole nightmare to do it. My stomach hurts. I'm anxious. I don't feel good. All right, you got me for a couple more minutes. Mr. Lupe, when you write that, I have to answer it. Mr. Lupe Lyons, hey, Doc, I just put the kids down. How are we feeling about Dan, and how long do you think John is going to be around? I think John's going to be around until the Lions' last day of the season, and then they'll find somebody else. You don't call out the players and have them call you out. It's a disconnect. And Dan Campbell's comments, when you read them, indicate that you move forward. Dan calls the plays. You need somebody that understands the offense, innovative, young, former player. Maybe you keep them around until you find that next person, but John Morton's not an OC. He is really a quality control special assistant that should be here. I don't want to blow him out of the organization. The man can watch film for days. He's a wealth of knowledge. Just stay away from the players and stay away from, stay away from play calling. No more John Morton after this year. Maybe. We could be wrong. Maybe if this works, if they win a Super Bowl, keep the formula. Man, Dan Campbell pulled the trigger after 7 games. Wait, 5-3 after 8 games, in a bye week. Wow. It was clear. It was pretty clear. Remember, the doc openly talked to you about John Morton. We wrote columns examining the high standards. What did others do? If you're a consumer, remember, I pay. Others gave you all the fake, phony, baloney numbers they wanted to support that the Lions offense wasn't in trouble. Remember that. You're a consumer. You should pay to read it, but you also got to be critical. They sit there and said, the Lions offense the sky's not falling. What's going on? What? It's too early. What? Dan Campbell is not that. Thank God he's not like that. Boom. One bad game, couple bad run games. Boom. The whole formula smelled. Thankfully that and I know that being in my position, I'm not sitting here waiting for all these errors to make changes. Make changes. Yes. He heard people. He analyzed it. He's a masterful psychologist. That's why I relate to Dan Campbell. He's masterful. Yeah, he is. Again, when I asked that question, people thought I was stupid because they already knew the answer. I asked, can you feasibly run last year's offense? Now, reasonably, his answer, when I asked Dan Campbell that after the Packers loss, his answer should have been a selling answer or it should have been a definitive answer. Meaning, he could have taken it 2 ways other than seeking facts from what I was saying. Is it feasible, Dan, to run your offense from last year? Heck yes, it is feasible. We have the best running back in the league. We got a wide receiver. We got 2 great ones and a young one we're going to bring along. We believe we're going to be explosive. We believe we can run the football, score 30 points every single week. We can achieve last year's offense. It was my offense. That's selling. That's an answer. 2, and it was my fault because we veered into communication issues and pre-snap motion. What I should have said was, and he would have, because his answer to me was, what were the major changes? I should have just said, well, Jared Goff on the radio said the first big change you made was communication. And then he would have answered, well, we have to change communication. So, in the end, I think it is relatively feasible at times to replicate it. But in the absence of Frank Ragnow, you have to adapt by using the skills of others. Maybe, in regards to when you face tougher competition, you don't call as many screen plays. You take apart what they're not good at. Or you adapt faster that, hey, they're bringing the blitz. We need to kind of get the ball out into the flat a little bit more. Or we need to be able to use tempo or figure something out or something different. It is feasible to run Ben Johnson's offense. And that means Dan Campbell is the bridge to that goal. It can happen. What does communication mean? Identifying where the blitzes are, adjustments made at the line to adjust protections. So Jared Goff sees something in the defense, he then signals, and then the offensive line, which is Graham Glasgow or some others, will signal to the line, hey, we're going to shift this way, or we're going to adapt the blocking to this, or we're changing the play. The offensive line had problems last week. Yeah, it changed the team. The team has been changed for the better. Well, I'm going to tell you this, guys. Let's use some analytics right now. Here's some advanced analytics that you guys got to know about. The Lions are back. 100% of the games that Dan Campbell called, they've won. 100% of the games that Dan Campbell has called, they've scored 40 points or more. 100% of the games J-Mo has a touchdown. 100% of the games that Dan Campbell has called has produced an offensive line that did not take many penalties. That's some good advanced analytics, right? So let's roll with that. Dan Campbell's the OC. He's the captain in charge. You follow Dan Campbell. And that's the way it should be. You're going to follow somebody that, is a film guy who declared it. 100% of the games on the road that Dan Campbell calls, they win. I like those numbers. The second highest scoring offense in the league. Why would you change anything? Let's calm down, everybody. Guess what, guys? Dan Campbell didn't calm down. He switched it up and he cut out the problem. Remember, journalists rely on reasons and facts. They needed to go ask somebody. I need to go ask, did Dan Campbell call the plays today before they say anything or react to anything? Come on. Exciting day. I'm excited. The Detroit Lions are back in my mind. Hell, it could be the euphoria of a win. It could be the euphoria of the feeling that you're getting back to Ben Johnson's offense by the guy that taught Ben Johnson. Hell yeah. Dan, is it feasible that you could run last year's offense? You saw it, John. What'd you think of the game against the Commanders, baby? Did you like that? You still think you need trades, Mr. Macaroon? Yeah, if you're going to run this offense, you could have got T. Higgins. You could have got Garrett Wilson. Call your boy Aaron up and be like, listen. Okay. I'm going to throw this out there. This is just 2 hours talking nonsense with my friends. But if you were sensing this and it's percolating, there's no way he just makes the decision after 1 week of watching. You have an offense. Would you have given up 2 first-rounders for Garrett Wilson? Go on offense. People are like, who would you have gotten, Mr. Macaroon? They come up with these stupid answers, like they come up with dumber questions to ask me when they want to say that they love Brad Holmes. Anybody. Pick a wide receiver that can score. Jacoby Myers. Wouldn't Jacoby Myers look good on the Lions? The Lions played the Raiders. Is Jacoby Myers not a Lion? For a first-round pick, he is. If you're going to run it up an offense, then I'm going to say, okay, forget the defensive line talk. Why don't you go out and get a receiver? Someone as a third receiver, but as a star, would make this offense lethal. Jacoby Myers was traded. Maybe you could have traded Garrett Wilson. You don't look too happy out there. 2 first-rounders for Garrett Wilson. It may be crazy, but I trust that nobody you talk to online is ever going to even say that because nobody thinks. Nobody is willing. And you guys could say, Doc, that's effing stupid. But you are an offensive juggernaut. They needed probably one offensive lineman and a weapon. If you would have traded for a receiver in this offense with what Dan Campbell could do, now we're not talking about winning a Super Bowl. Now we're talking about cruising into a Super Bowl and winning by 3 touchdowns, not grinding it out and hoping that Jake Bates kicks a field goal and you don't end up like the Bills and miss one. Why not? If you're an offensive juggernaut, give Goff more. Give Goff more. I love the keys to the window. Listen, I'm not like ferociously debating that. I'm just saying, why not? Doc, that is totally retarded. Offensive line is what is needed. Wide receiver guys are there by the boatload. They are. They are. You got 2 of them. Why not 3? That's not totally retarded. I feel like the word totally is totally disrespectful. Why's it got to be totally, man? Yes, offensive line was needed. But if you're going to ask me, I want proven talent. Go out there. Would they have said no? Maybe. But hell, throw that out there, Doc. GM Brad Holmes could throw me a text. Hey, John, instead of the denial email to come on the podcast, listen, we tried to get Garrett Wilson, but they said no. Call up Aaron Glenn and ask for him. We don't even get the crumb of what you tried to do. The Lions were aggressive in their pursuit of defensive line, offensive line, and cornerback. Just didn't happen. It's not totally out of the realm of possibility. No, I want more mouths to feed. There's no overkill. There is no overkill. Expand your mind. There is no overkill. There's no overkill. You are at the precipice of a title. You grab that rope and you push for it. There is no overkill. You can never have enough weapons for Jared Goff. Never. Never. Ever of everdom. Think about it. Gibbs, Montgomery. That's 2 running backs. Laporta, Brock Wright, 1.5, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Why not 3? You could say 3 if you could get Tesla. I mean, a rookie, Isaac Tesla or Garrett Wilson. Derek, come on. I feel like 2 first-rounders for Garrett Wilson would have been a nice move. Tell me outside of the feasibility of that nonsense I just spit out there on the internet before I get out of here. See, this is why I should get out before I start talking dumb. Would you imagine if the Lions traded 2 first-round picks for Garrett Wilson? If it were to happen, don't tell me you wouldn't have gotten a little excited. Don't tell me you would have started saying, I'm going to the Super Bowl. Come on, Derek, you would have got excited. We would have got excited. I would have said the Lions are Super Bowl winners. They're number 1 in the power rankings. He's like, hell no. I want those first-round unknowns. Garrett Wilson's known. He's known. Or pick anybody else. I just picked out a name because I watched the Jets because of Aaron Glenn. You can use 2 firsts to get an elite edge. Or a tackle. Yeah. Okay. I get it. There's some sexiness and entertainment value I also would like. I hear you, Phil. Don't agree to mortgage the future for a ring right now. It's because you don't believe they can win a ring. See, I have more faith than you. I think with Garrett Wilson, they win the Super Bowl. Just score 50 points on everybody. Give up 30, score 50. You're not stopping. I can't wait to see what the Eagles game looks like. Thank you guys for entertaining it. Let it percolate. Is it totally out of the realm of possibility that what I said was crazy? 2 first-rounders for a receiver. Knowing that Dan Campbell was thinking, also too, you got to know that Dan Campbell was thinking about pulling the plug. This is not a one-day decision, guys. It's not a one-day decision. Dan looked at the bye week and said, Magoo, this isn't looking good. Man, I'm excited. Lions are back, baby. What do you think? What do you think? Are the Lions back? What do you make of John Morton getting stripped of play calling duties? What's your early thoughts about the Eagles? That's my time. I gave you 2 hours. I think it was good, honest talk. I even gave you a crazy take to end it. If there's a new offensive coordinator that you would like besides John Morton, who would it be? So let's go through that slowly. If you guys get through the whole 2 hours, what's your reaction to this game? How excited? I want to see these comments because you know me. Again, give you the most takes, give you the most opinions, the most interesting podcaster you're going to follow because I don't care what people think. I'm trying to get people to think what I think, which is even funnier because that's always going to be an uphill climb. What do you think? Are the Lions back? If they strip John Morton, should he stay as the OC as a non-play caller, or is this it after 2025? What are your early thoughts about the Eagles? That's a lot, but that's a lot to get into over 24 hours. Let's get after it, guys. Thank you for the 2 hours. I truly do love talking to you guys. It makes it really fun to broadcast. We got one more story coming out at Lions on SI. It's free. The Lions website is always free. Lions, you visit si.com/NFL/Lions/on SI. Watch any show. The crawl there tells you where to go. Or you follow Detroit Podcast, the Twitter page. There's a lot of fun there too, where you can message, interact, direct message me, and we can comment and have a little debate. Would you have traded for a wide receiver? Splash. Remember, guys, also, we all know what we think the Lions should do, defensive end. He traded up for a receiver. He drafted a running back against the whole world. Let's just play Brad Holmes' game. You are the best, Doc. Thanks for being interesting. That's the mission. Brad Holmes is an offensive guy. He likes the offensive superstars from Alabama. He likes superstars. Two first-round picks and a third for Marvin Harrison. I don't even know if he's still playing. I'm just saying a name, a young player. Is Marvin Harrison even relevant? I don't know what's going on with the Cardinals. I just see that short quarterback, and I see them losing all the time. Two first-rounders for any receiver that's legitimately a talent-worthy player. I would say Garrett Wilson would be the target. I want that guy. Or Jacoby Myers. Got plucked from the Raiders. He's on my fantasy team, so I keep up with him. He's somewhat productive. Maybe you could have got him for a third, fourth. You don't have a third. All right. I'm excited to hear your thoughts about these topics. Let's talk soon this week. It's an exciting time. And remember, your general manager likes offense, loves offense. Doc likes offense, but I love defense. So, 2 first-rounders for Garrett Wilson. Who thinks of this stuff? The DOC. I look forward to talking to you guys this week. Thanks for all your support. Really, the freeway, like the stream. Like it. I went another 20 minutes. Supposed to go an hour and a half. That was the time frame. 2:15. I am going long on every show. Every single show, I'm going long. 2 hours, 15 minutes. All I ask is hit that like button. Notification bell will tell you when I go live. Smash it. Comment. Let's keep this train rolling. A lot of hope this week. Guys, it's heavyweight matchup. I'll be here. When the doc is live, others have to take a dive and get banned. We don't do copyright problems here. We know what we're not supposed to show. We show what we're supposed to show. No bans. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the Detroit Lions Lone Wolves podcast. I'm out.